but it is not perceived by the ignorant. Anyone for whom there is anything produced separately from collection should be known as claiming there is no cause, a denier of collection. If collection made things manifest like a lamp, whatever there is would be separate from collection. Anything construed by the unenlightened as existing separately from collection has no inherent existence of its own, by nature like space. Other than this, non-origination is the objective nature of the attainment of the wise, for whom non-origination is the acceptance of non-origination. When one sees this whole world as a collection, this being only a collection, the mind is then composed. Ignorance, craving, compulsive activity, and so on, are the internal collection. Stirring, clay, stick, potter's wheel, etc. Seeds and elements, etc. The external. If anyone supposes anything is produced by conditions otherwise, this is not just collection. They are not established in the science of reasoning. If there is no thing to be produced, based on what is their discernment? These are conditions of each other. That's why they are known as conditions. Phenomena are imagined by the naive in terms of heat, fluidity, motion, and solidity. This is a bundle. There's no thing. Absence of inherent nature is for this reason. Just as a physician distinguishes the treatment according to the illness, while there is no distinction in the science, but there is distinction of diseases, so do I, on account of the mental disposition of people suffering from the illnesses of afflictions. I guide the ignorant after determining the strength of their faculties. My teaching is not divided by distinctions of afflictions and faculties. The vehicle is just one, the peaceful eightfold path. The non-existence of rabbit horn is by the same reasoning of a vessel, cloth, and horn. You should understand that whatever comes about from conditions does not exist. Non-existence is the complement of existence. Non-existence does not follow from non-existence, for existence is necessary to non-existence. As a mutually relative cause. If anything is thought to appear depending on something, is something depending on what is causeless also causeless or not? Then something else appears dependent on something other than it. That would result in infinite regression, and nothing would be anything. Just as a magic illusion is effected based on leaves, sticks, and so on. Variety appears to people asserting substance to be so. The deception of the illusion is not leaves, nor sticks, nor pebbles. It is seen by the simple as magic, and by the magician as a prop. Then if anything passes away relative to a thing, at the time perceived there are no two. How can it be distinguished as anything? What is imagined by false imaginings doesn't exist, and imagination is not to be found. Where imagination isn't found is neither a succession of states nor cessation. Where imagination isn't found, their imagination does not develop. How could absence of manifestation be thought? Mental matter does not apply. There is no conviction in the teaching because of division into multiple designs. Since there is no conviction, there is no liberation, and no variety of people. The perceptible is not external as imagined by the simple. Thought appears like images, made to wander by impressions. All things are unoriginated, without unreality or reality. This is all just thought, but is abandoned on account of fictions. Things are interpreted in terms of beliefs by the unsophisticated, but not by the learned. The peaceful mind of the wise is free of the thought of inherent existence. The Samkhya, Vaisheshika, naked mendicants, priests, and devotees of the Lord of Souls as well fall into notions of unreality and reality, missing the meaning of detachment. Essenceless, unoriginated, empty, like illusion, undefiled. To whom are these descriptions in contraries taught by the Buddhas and by you? Yogis with purified minds are taught yoga. By Buddhas free of opinion and speculation, and descriptions by contraries by me. If this is all thought, where is the world situated? How can the coming and going of people on the surface of the earth be seen? Propelled by fancy like a bird in the sky. Like walking on the earth with nowhere to rest, no support, so do all living beings, propelled by fancy. go about in their own thought like a bird in the sky. The appearance of body, property, and abode you say is thought going on. How and why are appearance and manifestation only thought, pray tell? Body, property, and abode are appearances, and manifestation is produced by impressions. The manifestation of appearances of what have no connection is produced by imaginations. A thing is an imagined object. Thought is equivalent to object. By comprehending the perceptible as thought, false imagination does not develop. When one sees the construed as a name without substance, then one is liberated from the constructed, which is devoid of intelligence or anything intelligible. What would be intelligence is clear perception of an intelligible name in substance. Those who understand otherwise are not enlightened and do not enlighten. The 5 elements, the essential natures, the 8 consciousnesses and twofold selflessness are all contained in the great vehicle. When intelligence sees the world apart from the intelligible, there is no name. Imagination then does not go on. Cessation of imaginations of actions and words comes from insight into the mind. False imagination starts from lack of insight into one's own mind. 4 of the clusters are formless. Their reckoning is not to be found. Form is due to elements of different characteristics. How is there multiplicity of forms? By relinquishment of description, there is no element or elemental. So why is form not produced by the clusters with different characteristics? When one sees the clusters free of the media of sense have no appearances, then thought ceases, by seeing the selflessness of phenomena. By distinction of object and sense, consciousness occurs, eightfold. The 3 are by definition. Where there are no images it ceases. The receptacle is self to the intellect, knowledge is as it were possession. This starts from grasping these 2, ceases by comprehension. When one sees it without other or not other, not belonging together, then the pair is not construed as self and possession. What has not begun does not develop and is not a cause of consciousness. Apart from effect and cause, extinction does not occur. Tell me how the world is imagination, and only thought, unrelated to causes, without indicated or indicator. Subjective thought appears as a picture. The appearance of objects is imagined. Different from bringing together mind and things not knowing they are objects of thought. The notion of nonexistence occurs when one does not see with the faculty of perception. Then why does existence not come about? From grasping the thought of it. Imagination is not something, yet not nothing, hence existence does not occur. By knowing it is an object of thought, imagination does not develop. Deactivation of imagination is an independent revolution, excluding the 4 propositions if things have causes. How distinction within perceptions is made is not established. It must be their entry into relationship with objects, or else begin from an origin. By the combination of causes and conditions, disallowing an origin, the error of permanence is refuted, if conditions are impermanent. There is no becoming or destruction due to simple impermanence, for nothing at all is seen passing away or functioning as an origin. Why and how is the unseen not impermanence become being? One should protect people by the means of integration and control them by discipline. One should negate opinion by insight, and promote growth by liberations. All that is taught in vain by dogmatists is materialism. My aim is not found by the view of effect and cause as real. I teach disciples a single aim without effect or cause, without materialism. Being only thought, there is no object. Mind is seen divided by the notion of grasped and grasper, without permanence or annihilation. As long as thought goes on, so long is it materialism. False imagination is inactive in one seeing the world as subjective thought. Coming about is the accomplishment of effects, passing away is a view of an effect. By comprehension of coming about and passing away, false imagination does not develop. Permanent, impermanent. Created, uncreated. Prior, posterior. All such notions are materialism. Deities, anti-gods, and humans, animals, ghosts, and hells. The ways of life where living beings are born are reckoned to be 6. One is born in them by lower, higher, and middling action. Or, by guarding all good, there is even individual emancipation. Tell me the meaning of the death and birth moment to moment taught by you to the mendicants. Like a form changing into another, thought dissolves once it occurs, so I point out to students the continuous succession of momentary births. In each form, becoming and dissolution pertain to imagination. Imagination must be the offspring. No other imagination can be found. What is not connected moment to moment is spoken of on the basis of assumption. Without grasping form, there is no production, nor does it dissolve. Conditions and results of conditions, ignorance and verity, etc., suggest duality in phenomena. Verity must be non-dual. If phenomena are distinguished into conditions and results of conditions, permanence and so on would be effect. Condition would be cause. This statement of yours and the Buddhas would be no different from dogmatists, because of grasping effect and cause, and thus not worthy, great sage. In the body, though a fathom in size, is a world, indeed a total world. It is the path to extinction, I teach the heirs of the victors. Ordinary people with false notions of grasped and grasping imagine mundane and transmundane phenomena by grasping the three natures. Hence grasping nature is done by presupposition. In order to avoid opinions, nature should not be imagined. Neither restraint nor thought begins from defect or fault. Verity would be none other than the two behaviors. Ignorance, craving, action, consciousness, etc., are not born from the womb. As it would imply an uncertain assumption, the world is not produced by being created. The destruction of things is said by the unwise to be fourfold. The being and non-being of dualistic imagining isn't there. What is beyond the four extremes is free from duality of view. If there is dualistic imagination, it doesn't go on after seeing. Due to the arising of discernment where things are not originated. Where things are not originated. Don't construe that as due to mental construction. Tell me the reasoning, O leader. By excluding dualistic notions. Like me, others should never construe non-existence and existence as totally separate. And not be involved in dogmatism, aloof from listeners, victorious as heirs of the victor, not destroying the victor's realization and practice. Cause and absence of cause of liberation have the same characteristic of non-origination. They cause perplexity by figures of speech. This is always to be avoided by the wise. Resembling clouds, tricks, rainbows, like mirages, eye floaters, illusions. All things originate in subjective imagination. Dogmatists imagine the world in terms of their own principles. Non-origination, verity, the limit of existence, and emptiness. These are terms for form. One should not imagine it non-existent. As in the world a hand is a hand. And a powerful lord is a destroyer of strongholds. So one should not imagine the non-existence of all things. Emptiness is none other than form, and non-origination likewise. One should not divide them, because of not being different. Or the defect of views will result. Conception and imagination come from grasping the appearance of objects. The circularity of long and short and so on comes from grasping imagination. Forethought is conception, intellect imagination likewise. There is no defined or definition in fanciful cognitive consciousness. When what is construed as non-origination by dogmatists and what by those with the insight of my guidance are not distinguished, the defect of opinion results. Those who know non-origination as a means and the use of non-origination too know the proper application. They understand my guidance. Non-origination without abode is a means of shutting down opinions. I speak of non-origination out of comprehension of two uses. Are things found to be unoriginated or not? Tell me, great sage. Non-origination proposing no cause is an inclination of dogmatic philosophy. Non-origination proposing no cause is an unbalanced dogmatic view. I say mind alone is free of affirmation and negation. Non-origination as a production should be shunned as having a view for a cause. given non-origination as a production in the doctrine of causelessness. This is the causal basis. There is no effortless action. Action is mixed with views. Tell me the view that goes with expedience, vows, and so on. How does society come about with the absence of beings and phenomena? There is neither activity nor cessation when detached from grasped and grasper. Thought comes up together with opinion from one state of mind to another. The non-origination of phenomena. How is that, pray tell? People don't understand, so this is elucidated. Please explain the whole contradiction preceding and following, free from the fault of dogmatics, excluding imbalanced denial of cause.